I'm recording on my new LG Stylo 6 phone with the front camera, 13 megapixels. We'll see how this video comes out. When I went to the store to get my free LG Stylo 6 phone with a 13 megapixel front camera, I went to the store and I got it. And now I'm making YouTube video. Yeah, I'm looking good. I'm looking good on my Stylo 6. So an interesting thing happened at the cell phone store. So this Stylo 6 has cost me $107 more than I would have paid if I had stayed with my old carrier. So by moving my phone number to this new carrier, I got the phone for just $107 in additional costs with this camera. Okay, so we're checking out today. And as I was telling the sales representatives there at the store that I was most interested in the front-facing camera and for my YouTube channel. And then they asked, what is my YouTube channel about? And I told them that it's about physics stuff. And I proceeded to mention that gravity is generated. And one of the representatives asked, gravity is generated? This video is dedicated to his question. Now, is gravity generated? And my answer was yes, gravity is generated. It must be generated because gravity exerts a force. It exerts a force on us and it exerts a force on the moon. Okay. So if something didn't happen internally to Earth and also internally to the moon could not generate gravity. The Earth could not generate gravity because you have to do work. You have to input energy to get energy. Otherwise, you don't conserve energy. Okay? The Earth and the moon expend energy to maintain an orbit around them. Okay? They expend energy. It's a physical force. Okay? It's a physical force. So, the orbit is maintained. The moon orbits the sun because of this physical force that is continually pulling it in. It's like a string. It's like a string attached to the moon. Okay? Where the moon would exert the force to keep it in orbit, except that this force is invisible. Now, the conservation of energy law says that you can't get more energy than you started with. You can neither create nor destroy energy. Okay. So we have this force now, and I guess the second question that this gentleman had was, how is gravitational force generated? Okay, and to figure that out, I had to go to the atomic level, okay? And gravitational force is generated as part of electromagnetic waves, okay? So at the atomic level, electromagnetic waves are generated by nucleon sacs pulsating, okay? Nucleon sacs are permeable. Quark sacs are permeable. What that means is GP1s can go in if the outside pressure is greater, and GP1s can go out when GP1 pressure is lower than the inside. So physicists use this term also. They use pump to get an atom or an electron sac to a higher energy. They say pump. It's pumped to a higher energy level. Okay, so a photon pumps matter to higher energy levels. So GP1s are pumped into the sacs, and that gives them a higher energy level. Now, in reverse, they call vacuum. Okay, so when pressure drops and you get a vacuum, more GP1s are going to come out than are going to go in. Now, these pulsations are of specific frequencies. Every atom has its own special spectral lines. What that means is that each atom, like hydrogen atom, has certain spectral lines that it will generate at different temperatures. They're pulsations. So an atom will pulsate at certain frequencies, okay? And then once those frequencies harmonize, the pulsation and absorption frequencies harmonize, then you get spectral lines in the light, okay? So the amplitude from a very weak atomic level pulsation harmonize in the GP1 ether ocean of the universe, the medium of electromagnetic waves. So the atomic level waves, pulsations in and out, harmonize to an electromagnetic wave. Now, while they're harmonizing, they're going to heat up. The reason they're going to heat up is because the reason they're going to heat up, matter is going to heat up inside the Earth. Matter is going to heat up inside the Earth. And why Jupiter puts out heat. Jupiter is putting out twice the heat that it receives from the sun. The reason for this is that Jupiter is shrinking. So when you shrink matter, you take heat out of it, okay? So this heat that you take out heats nucleons more, which means that more God particle 1s are put into, I was trying not to rub my nose or cough, you know, I didn't want to make a video where I rub my nose, but I can't help it, my nose itches and I had to cough, okay? So I got my new phone and I'm making a video on this phone and I'm answering the question of how gravitational force is generated inside Earth. Okay? Now, the Earth breathes. It breathes in GP1s and it exhales God particle 1s out. And it does it every 26 seconds, okay? So it takes a lot of force to expand the Earth's crust every the Earth's crust expands for 13 seconds and it contracts for 13 seconds, okay? Actually, the contraction may be 14 seconds, okay? Because more is put in than comes out, okay? So more God particle ones go inside nucleon sacs, inside electron sacs. Now these sacs are permeable inside neutrino sacs. So more during the compression cycle is just a tiny bit longer. And so that in Earth it puts in more because outside of Earth is positive ether pressure. Okay, so you have positive ether pressure. Even in the center of the Earth where pressure is higher, there's still a little bit more crunch pressure than there is expulsion pressure. Okay. Now, so the matter heats up, but actually in the center, complete center of the Earth, we get another source of energy, which is squeezed out of the nucleons, because the nucleons in the center are compressed more, and they don't get a chance to heat up. They actually cool down. Okay, so that's how we ended up with an iron core in the center of our Earth. There's an iron core in the center. Now that iron core could be close to absolute zero. Okay, that's hard to conceive of. And also, it may be hard to conceive that the white dwarf being developed inside our sun right now, that will have a density of 200,000 times Earth density, is actually at minus 600,000 Kelvin, okay? That thing is cold, because the only way you can get an object denser, and obviously the Earth's iron core is denser than the molten outer core, okay? It's denser, and the only way you can get it denser is to take heat out of it and cool it, just like you make dry ice. You take carbon dioxide, you compress the carbon dioxide, then you remove heat from it through a heat exchanger, and then you decompress it and let it cool. You do it again, remove heat, and eventually you get to liquid carbon dioxide. And then you decompress the liquid carbon dioxide and you get dry ice. Okay? It's the same principle. Inside our sun, you have breathing cycles, compression, decompression, okay? And you have compression and then heat exchanger, you remove heat, then you decompress, it cools. Okay, so the center of our sun has been cooling through compression, heat removal, decompression. Compression, heat removal, and decompression. Anyway, our sun in the center is at minus 400,000 Kelvin. And the Earth's solid nickel iron core may be close to absolute zero or below absolute zero. Okay, but that's for another discussion. Okay, so, but there is one relevance to gravity. As you cool, you generate anti-gravity. Okay, so as the Earth's iron core cools, heat is removed, and that heat implodes more God particle ones inside. Implodes more God inside nucleon sacs and inside electron sacs and inside neutrino sacs, okay? And when you compress those God particle ones inside, then you reduce the GP1 pressure at the center of the Earth. and then the GP1 pressure outside is higher, and the GP1s rush in, and then they push the nucleons in our body, they push them in towards Earth, okay? So there's a physical force on us. It's invisible, okay? So there's a GP1 wind that's going to the center of the Earth. And it's like air. Well, now you know that air can push us around. Okay, it can pick us up too. Tornadoes and stuff and hurricanes, they can take the roofs off buildings. Make buildings collapse. Okay, you can get make objects fly. Okay, so similarly, this flow of GP1s is pushing our nucleons towards the center of the Earth. And this flow extends out to the moon. So the moon, the higher pressure away from Earth, is pushing the moon. And not just the moon is also pulling on Earth. And both low ether air pressure systems are warped toward each other. Okay, and they're also warped towards the sun. Now we know this because the Earth's ionosphere is warped towards the sun. And we know this because of Newton's product of the masses. The Earth accelerates to the sun by 224 kilometers per second every time the moon orbits the sun. Okay, 224 kilometers per second. Okay, it takes the Earth 27.32 days the moon to orbit the Earth every 27.32 days, okay? What that means is over 13.66 days, the moon will accelerate towards the sun, and the net acceleration will be 112 meters per second over those 13.66 days. And then the following 13.66 days, as it moves away from the sun in its orbit around the Earth, the moon will decelerate by 112 meters per second over the following 13.66 days. Or you can think of it that the Earth, because it has a bigger mass and its bubble is warped towards the sun, and Newton's product of the masses says that the Earth per unit of mass is going to accelerate faster towards the sun than the moon is going to accelerate towards the sun per unit of mass. So the Earth continuously is accelerating towards the sun by 224 meters per second every time the moon orbits the Earth, okay? It's falling faster, okay? Now, relative to the Earth, we say the moon accelerates for 13 and a half days and decelerates for 13 and a half days, when in fact, the Earth is the one that's accelerating faster to the center, to the sun, and the moon just tags along, okay? So that's an interesting fact. Okay, so you should know how gravity is generated. You should know what low ether pressure is at the center of the Earth and how that's generated. You should know that the Earth breathes. Okay? You should know that the Earth can't hold the moon in orbit. The Earth cannot hold the moon in orbit without doing work. The Earth must do work. It must compress God particle once inside nucleon sacs, net compress. And in the process of net compression, it generates thermal electromagnetic waves, okay? And it keeps heating up. The Earth keeps heating up because the core is cooling. The sun keeps heating up because the core is cooling and because it's fusing hydrogen together, making neutrons, okay? So the sun has two furnaces. It has the hydrogen fusion furnace, and it has heat being extracted from the developing white dwarf. Okay, there's a developing white dwarf inside the sun, and the extraction of heat from the white dwarf material to minus 600,000 Kelvin is a different furnace. So it has two sources of heat. Okay, and that's how the sun generates gravity, and the Earth extracts heat from the core. That helps it generate gravity, and then you have positive ether pressure. You have GP1 ether pressure on the Earth. Okay, and that GP1 ether pressure is used to generate the gravitational force of attraction by helping to implode God particle once inside nucleon sacs. You got it. You know what's going on. Talk more later. Bye.